We are located between Upper Falls and Middle Falls in Letchworth State Park. Behind me we have a straight reach of the Genesee River flowing north from the headwaters, which are back this way towards Pennsylvania, flowing towards the north towards Lake Ontario. You can see that the water is still moving pretty quickly, and here's some things that I want you to know about this location. I want you to know that in a straight stretch of the river, the water is going to flow the fastest just below the surface. And the reason for that is because along the stream bank and along the bottom of the stream, there's going to be a lot of friction between the water and the stream bed. If we hit a turn like this, we call this a meander where we have a turn, the water is going to flow the fastest towards the outside. And it's going to do the greatest amount of erosion on the outside. That's going to create a steep bank dominated by erosion. On the inside, the water is going to flow slowly, and it's going to pile up sediments that's going to be dominated by deposition. So in a profile view, we call this a cross-sectional view. What we would see is if you were on the outside bend, the water is going to be deeper on the outside bend, it's going to be shallower on the inside bend, and it's going to be dominated by deposition on the inside bend of the river. So this spot right here would correspond to this spot in the river right here, and this spot right here would correspond to this spot right here in the river. We're in Letchworth State Park at one of the little tributaries that is going to lead into the Genesee River. As we look down the stream here, one of the things that I want you to see is that there's some very steep-sided canyon walls. We're going to take a look at the board here for a second. This is a big idea that we want to make sure that we understand. That with rivers, especially with very young rivers like this, they're doing a lot of erosion. This is a very steep gradient. Whenever you have a river with a very steep gradient, the water moves quickly in the process. The dominant process here is going to be erosion. The water is carrying sediments which are going to be doing the erosion on the bottom part of the stream only, and it cuts a very deep V shape. If we have a glacier valley, the ice will fill in a river valley like this, but it will start to build up and it will erode away by dragging sediments along the sides of the valley and across the bottom, and it will turn a valley that looks like this, a river valley, into a very broad, wide valley that forms a U shape. So U-shaped valleys, we know that those have been cut out by glaciers. V-shaped valleys like the one that's right here, we know that that is dominantly formed by river erosion. We're in Letchworth State Park at one of the little tributaries which is eventually going to lead into the Genesee River. Here's what I want to talk about at this location: erosion and deposition. Whenever we have a turn like this, the velocity of the water, that means the speed of the water, is going to change depending upon which side of the bend you're on. Currently, I am standing on one of the outside bends. It's like I'm right here, and this side is going to be where you have the greatest velocity and you have the greatest amount of erosion. The side the camera view is on the inside bend, and you're going to notice that there's lots of rocks piled up on the inside. That is the deposition side. I'm going to walk where the water is flowing the fastest. You're going to be able to see it inside of the stream, that the water is going to be going the fastest over here. It's going to be headed right towards this bank, and it doesn't have a steering wheel, so it smashes right into the side of this bank. And this is the deepest part in here. As I walk across the bank to this side, this is the depositional side. You see lots of rocks piled up on the inside bend of the river. I'm going to step back into the river channel here. So the water is moving the fastest along this outside here. You see how I just stepped in really deep? This is a really deep part of the channel. It's cutting away. That makes this side of the channel very, very steep. As it weathers and erodes this side, little particles smash into it, loosen up the particles, and then these slide down into the channel. So this part on the outside is the deepest. It's too deep for me even walking right now. On the inside, this is called the point bar. Right where I'm standing, this is the point bar. And as I'm walking through here, this is where the water's moving very slowly. And then we're going to have deposition on this inside bend. There's erosion across on the other side. Now, as we keep going down the stream, you're going to see that the erosion and deposition side is going to change. So now as we go through this part, when I get over to here, now the deepest part is going to switch. It's going to be on this side. There's going to be more erosion of this side of the cliff. We see how it creates the steep cliff over here. So I'm in the deepest part of the water where it's moving the fastest, doing the most erosion. As I go over to the inside over there, that is where we would dominantly have deposition.